Hey everyone, thanks for checking out Pure Delusion. I'm Tamir. My hiatus is over. Obviously, new graphics cards are here. I have to know about them. I have to talk about them. And the RTX, switching from the former GTX, a step into the future with the 2080 series, 2070, 2080 Ti. That's where we're headed towards, right? So, and reference models that are not blowers. So, bravo to Nvidia for taking that step. I got a lot of thoughts about it, so I guess I'll just dig right into this. I'm gonna, assume that you're curious, you know quite a bit about computers, and if not, or maybe you even know more than me. But I'm just a guy that wants to talk about it on the internet. First thing that steps out when I look at this new series is there's a 70, there's an 80, and then there's a Ti. From what history shows us, there's usually a 60, a 70, an 80, then comes a Ti. The Ti has always been released later because they take a look at everything that went right with the other ones and went wrong and kind of compiled all that data to make the most proficient card. Like, pretty much when you get a Ti, it's kind of pushed to the max out the box. There's not a lot of tweaking. You don't got to really worry about a silicon lottery. You know what you're getting is spot on. Looking at this new release, I feel like Nvidia's up to something kind of misleading, right? So they're out the gate, they're releasing a Ti, a 2070, a 2080, and a 2080 Ti. That just doesn't sit well with me. You haven't had users benchmark all these cars. You haven't had users tell you the flaws they've, found. This is how it's always went. So now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that your research and development is suddenly gotten that much better, and this Ti is just going to come out optimal. It just kind of, I don't know. It's just different from what I'm used to. So I'm assuming the worst, I guess. And I just there's a part of me that feels that, is the 2070 really the 60, the 2080 is really the 70, and the Ti is really the 80, and then there's going to be a release of some, newer card later that's going to cost a lot more money, which these cards already cost a lot, and it's going to be like the 2080 Ti squared or the 2080X or something like that, and this card's $1,500 because it's optimal. We've and they're pretty much doing the same thing. It's basically like they're just trying to raise the price to get consumers to pay for things. And I feel like when it comes to PC gaming right now, we've kind of hit a wall. It's CPUs have kind of hit a wall, GPUs have kind of hit a wall, and I honestly don't feel like perhaps that the 20 series really had too much more to offer, and I feel like that's where the whole ray tracing thing comes in at. So, ray tracing, what is it? Well, first of all, it's a proprietary software that is developed in-house by Nvidia and pretty much revolves around simulating light and reflection and shadows, so you have a more realistic gaming experience. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. However, anytime you start talking proprietary, that means everyone is not going to get that same experience. So what does that mean? So a good example would be, let's look at a G-Sync monitor, right? If you have a Nvidia card that is G-Sync enabled, and you have a monitor G-Sync enabled, then you don't have to worry about the artifacting, right? So, oh wow, look at this smooth, buttery experience. Great. Once again, though, G-Sync is proprietary to Nvidia. You look at the AMD side, they have FreeSync, which is the same thing, but their proprietary software. So, what does all this mean? The difference between G-Sync and FreeSync, that's more on the hardware end. So, like, we, as the consumer, had to go buy an additional piece of hardware. I need a FreeSync monitor. I need a G-Sync enabled monitor to take advantage of those features. The difference when we're talking about this whole new thing and what Nvidia is doing with the ray tracing is now it's going to be based on the developer. We have to trust that the developer is going to enable these new features for this big chunk of change that you just spent on this new graphics card. So you're thinking like, well, why wouldn't a developer do that? I mean, of course they want their games to look as awesome as possible and optimal as possible. That's not always the case. I mean, we can take a look at something as old as SLI. It's been around for a very long time. However, not all developers happen to develop for it. Even though it's very commonly known that users that perhaps don't want to have to spend as much money on getting another newer graphics card. Hey, let me just go get my older card, run SLI, I can get a little bit more power and save me some money. That's usually the reason. Or, just you're a PC enthusiast, you think the more cars the merrier because it looks sick, right? I've ran SLI before and it was not worth it because a lot of developers did not utilize it. So in my mind, I was kind of pissed, to be honest. I was frustrated. I spent this money on another card, and then there was this whole slew of games that didn't even utilize it, and that doesn't feel good. We could take a look at the FX series by AMD when they first start releasing the 8-core processors. More cores, you would think more optimal performance. However, most developers, especially for gaming, don't utilize all 8 cores, and even still to this day it's more common that you see 4 cores being used, and they're now starting to talk about using 6 and 8, but right now it's 4 is kind of the standard. So once again, you buy this hardware and developers don't necessarily even use it, and I feel like this is a gamble. Now, it's just a gamble towards the future because I feel like technology, if you don't take chances, we're never gonna get anywhere. I mean, look at how touch screen phones started and how trash they were at first until finally someone figured out a way, that changed the game, right? This could be that. However, I don't know if I want to invest $1,200 into the first step towards the generation, kind of being the guinea pig. It doesn't, with the whole new 7080 Ti lineup, no 60, and something doesn't sit right with me. If you're really interested in this, I would advise you go check out Gamers Nexus. He does a great breakdown of ray tracing and talks with NVIDIA, and does a lot of great videos in general. So if you're into that really super nerdy stuff, go check him out. But right now, and I'm not, this isn't like, bash NVIDIA, because once again, they are trying to push forward, the industry model and what that looks like. I know they're on 7 nanometers when it comes to, their die size and everything else. I mean, it's impressive. It's getting smaller and smaller, which means, the future's getting better and better because you can fit more on these dies. However, this I don't know. I look forward to more information coming out, more research, more benchmarks. Because, I mean, once again, this was an announcement. It wasn't like a real breakdown, teardown. All those videos are going to come out. I do remember, for the 1080 Ti, I was very impressed kind of right out the gate at the performance of what it was able to do. There was no question. And especially power consumption. It was a huge leap. But for this, I'm just not sure. It seems kind of gimmicky. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes open, and I'm going to relay that information I find out to you. And I guess lastly, something a little bit more petty. But, I think any of us that are real, true PC enthusiasts, we want our rig to look sick, right? RGB everything. We're investing a lot of money in just the PC looking good, as well as performing. Have you seen these third-party cards? They don't look good. EVGA has some plastic see-through transparent shell. Asus probably looks the best, but it kind of looks like last year's. Zotac looks boring compared to what they did last year for the 1080 Ti. Gigabytes, it's kind of bland. I guess the best one I've seen is MSI, but it's just, I would have never thought I would see the day where a reference card looks better than the third-party cards. And I mean, hey, you can say, hey, it doesn't matter, it's about performance. I've invested a lot of money in my PC looking cool. That is a huge letdown. But I don't know, that's just me. Obviously, you guys let me know down below in the comment section. Do you think these cars look aesthetically pleasing? Do you think RTX truly is the real deal and it's game changing? let me know, your thoughts below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I appreciate it. And as always, this video means more to me than you'll ever know. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. See ya.